All right, hello and welcome back to episode 4. Let's clap it up for the new year. I'm so excited to be here. This is the first episode of the year, so this is, something to be happy, something to be excited about. Like I said, you guys are going to grow with me through this journey, and we're just going to continue to get better. So without further ado, today's episode is going to be titled "Don't Panic," or maybe even instant gratification. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But today we're just going to be deep diving and talking about like social pressures. It's going to be a little more serious this time. But social pressures, instant gratification, feeling like you're not doing enough, how to actually set yourself up for success, goal planning, things of that nature. And disclaimer, I just want to say I am by any means not where I want to be, but I am definitely working on it. Like I always say pretty much every podcast, like I know where I'm trying to set my life up and I know the lifestyle that I want, so I'm going to continue to work for that and work through that. And I want to bring you guys along with me in my journey of receiving the life that I will have and that I want to have, and letting you guys know that you can too. And honestly, it's all about changing your mindset, changing the type of things you're around, changing your environment, like decluttering your mind, decluttering your space, just putting yourself in a better predicament, and knowing that as long as you take a small step each day, look 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now, maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years, you will see progress. I'm a firm believer in no matter what, if you work hard, you will see results. It's like a person who works out. I don't care if you only work out 15 minutes a day. The fact that you're working your body out for that 15 minutes each day and that you're being consistent, you will eventually see results. It's the same thing with anything you do in life, whether it be your business, your career, school, whatever. So for me specifically, I feel like I enjoy entrepreneurship, but people don't understand that being an entrepreneur does not equal instant gratification. It does not equal you're driving a Range Rover next year. It doesn't equal you're buying every purse from Louis V and Chanel. It does not equal you get flued out every weekend. For some, that may be the reality, but for most, it is a consistent grind and a constant growth. I guess there's constant growth that happens in this lane, and it's not for the weak. It just truly isn't. And you have to be very grounded in your business. Low-key, I feel like that's the issue with a lot of especially our generation, when it comes to people who are in like my industry, the beauty industry. Everybody wants to be a Jada waiter instead of being a hairstylist or being a makeup artist or being that nail tech. Everybody wants to be an Instagram influencer. Now, if that is the lane that you want to go down, and you do feel like you are talented in that area, by all means do that. But when you are in this field, you have to actually like what you're doing. And I feel like a lot of people just do this for the look of it, or they think it's like all glitz and glam. It's like you're looking at all these other people who do things like Arrogant Tay or someone like that. I'm just using that as a quick reference. Even your local hair beautician. And you see all these things that they've acquired, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to do this because this is the type of lifestyle I want to live. But you're not understanding the grind and the work that person has really put in to get to that level that they are in their life. Best believe when they first started out, they were probably doing free services. They were probably doing them services for $30. They were probably dealing with all types of clientele. They didn't have their ups and downs. They didn't maybe lost more money than they put in. Like, it really gets like that. And we have to understand, like I said, instant gratification is not going to be the answer for all. Not that it can't happen, but you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be okay with the thought of, I'm going to take a L, but instead of calling it a loss, I'm going to call it a lesson. And like I said, I just want to kind of like plant these seeds into anybody who may be watching and just maybe feeling like stuck in their career, because I've went through that. You know what I mean? I currently just went through a period where I feel like, dang, I'm stuck. I was just before I had a kid, I was doing what I do now day in, day out, and that was how I was sustaining my lifestyle. But once I became a mother, everything slowed down for me. tremendously, and I stopped doing what I love, which is the beauty industry, nails, lashes, waxing. That's what I love to do. I thought it was going to come back and be easy peasy, rice and cheesy, and I was very humbled. For probably the 5th time in my life, I was very humbled to see, like, oh, well, I'm kind of like in a research. I'm in a rebuild. I have to re-get myself out there. I have to, re-earn, my respect in this industry. And let me not even say respect. Respect is the wrong word, but I have to re-earn my spot in this industry, because so much can happen in a year and so much changes in a year. And I took maybe a year and some change off from doing what I want to do. So, you know what I mean? But I'm just here to say and show that it happens and it is okay. And you looking at the next person thinking they have it all figured out, and you don't know their story. Like I said, I went from doing what I love to do day in and day out, and that being my end all be all, to taking a break, having to take a huge step back from where I was actually in my life, regrouping, figuring out motherhood, work-life balance, to hopping back to being an entrepreneur, not making as much as I was, you know what I'm saying? Just being completely honest, being transparent. Not being able to work as much as I was, and understanding that this is a part of my process and a part of my journey. Did it get frustrating at times? Like, yeah, I wish it was I wish I was back busy and booming how I was before. But it's like, it just shows you life can change. Life is always changing, and it's going to help me prepare for the next time I'm ever in life. If I decide I want to have children, what I'm going to do next, or you know what I mean, how I could sustain that. Because now it's I'm at a point where it's I do want more kids. So if I was to have more kids and I would have to start working, you know what? Next time I'm gonna start making products. I'm gonna start selling products in the lane that I am, so I can still be in the loop, still doing what I gotta do, and I'm still pushing out something that's keeping me having a gradual income while I'm able to take time and still be a mom and process my pregnancy and all these type of things. So you just have to really look at your situation and be open to adjusting, and be optimistic, and understand that there's not one answer to any question. There's never one answer. You know what I mean? It's like a math equation. It's always more than one way to get the same answer, if that makes sense. So if I say, how many different ways can you get to 4? You could say 1 plus 3. You can go 2 plus 2. You can go 2 times 2. You can go 4 times 1. All of these situations will get you to the number 4. So yeah, just always keep that in your mind, to be optimistic and understand that life is ever changing. So you have to be ever changing. You have to be able to, counteract whatever life throws at you. And I know it's easier said than done to get in a spot where it feels like I'm not progressing, or I feel stagnant, and I feel like I am putting in all this hard work and it's not paying off. Don't ever get that in your mind. Maybe you need to change up your strategy a bit. Maybe you need to approach things from a different angle, but don't ever think that your hard work will ever go unnoticed, or what's the word I'm trying to say? It will go hold on, I hate when I do this, or that it will go unrewarded. You will always reap the benefits of your hard work. Another thing, I feel like, especially I can really only speak from my point of view, and my point of view of being an entrepreneur, and I'm in the beauty industry, but I feel like this can apply to whatever it is that you are into in your own life. Do not be scared to ask questions. Do not be scared. Do not be scared to be vulnerable, because 9 times out of 10 we've all been there. If there's someone that I feel like you look up to, or someone that you feel like it's oh, I love their work, or I love what they have going on, or I aspire to be on this level, you know what I mean? Ask a question. You know what I mean? Study the people that you aspire to be like. See what it is that they do, and figure out your own niche within that, if that makes sense. I'm not saying copy someone's recipe, talked about them, that's not what I'm saying. But place yourselves in those spaces. For example, my business page used to be my personal page. So I still do follow quite a few people. But what I did do over the years is I tried to unfollow just people's pages. Like, I have a personal page, so if I want to follow someone I know, I'll follow you on that page. But when it comes to my business page, you will see that I follow a lot of people in my industry. That's the type of stuff I want to keep feeding my brain and my psyche. When I go on social media, I don't want to be put down. I don't want to see all the glitz and glam. I don't want to see I don't want to be put into the social pressures of social media, especially Instagram, because Instagram is just one of those places where I feel like everybody wants to be perfect or tries to be perfect. Or I was talking to one of my clients today, and it was crazy because I was talking to my girlfriends this past weekend in South Carolina. Like, everybody wants the same aesthetic. Whatever the trend of aesthetic there it is at that moment, everybody flocks to it. Everybody wants to do that. Everybody wants to be that. And you have to stand out. Make yourself stand out. Being like everybody else does not make you. Being like everybody else does not make you unique. You know what I mean? Find your own niche, and what it is that you want to do. And like I said, for me, I can't see certain things on my timeline all the time because I'm human, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't want that type of stuff feeding my spirit or feeding my attitude for the day. You know what I mean? I don't want it to change how I feel. I don't want to feel like I could be doing better. I don't want to beat myself up because I just went on social media and seen something that made me feel like I was 10 steps behind. You know what I mean? Because everybody's race is different, and that's the thing. The moment you realize, though, it's not even a race, like Nipsey Hussle said, it really is a marathon, you will feel 10 times better. So, yeah, that's kind of my spiel on it, but I kind of just went on a tangent. Let me get back on track. So, with that being said, when I'm on my business page, I try to follow other nail techs, maybe makeup artists, maybe other hairstylists, people who are immersed in the lifestyle that I am in and can understand, like, the business and being an entrepreneur, and maybe have tips or are doing things that might help or inspire me or help me do better. Even with the podcasting, I have like 3 main podcasts that I absolutely love. One is Set the Record Straight with Von Ray and Big Sexy, the official Big Sexy. Love them. The second one of my girls put me on to Poor Minds. Ever since she put me onto them, I love Poor Minds. Like, it's just the way they've evolved in their podcast is like what I want to do with, but in my own right. You know what I mean? So, and then the third one, this one's more like funny for me, is Don't Call Me White Girl. I love Mona Down. Like, I wish I would have known about her earlier than I did. I think I got hip to her like most people probably did with the one arm on neck, one hand on frontal video. But once I got a hold of her, I will not let her go. But yeah, those are like people that I watch and I want to see what they're doing, and I, because there's something to learn from them, not to copy them, not to take their flow, nothing of that nature, but these are essentially the type of people I like watching. So, it helps me grow. And if I'm consistently watching things in which I aspire to be, or watching things that can inspire me, that's kind of what my motivation is daily, versus me getting on Instagram and seeing who just bought a new Rolls Royce, or who just got a new Chanel bag, or who just, you know what I mean? Like, that's not where I'm at in my life. So I'm feeding my mind and my soul with the things that will help me progress as a person. Don't get me wrong, seeing somebody buy that new car can be motivation, but when you see that stuff over and over and over and over again, and you may not be in a space to where you can afford those type of things, why do you want to keep putting that in your mind? Like, I'm not there yet. I'm supposed to be there. The truth is, you're not. Because I had to take a quick intermission, so sorry if the camera's a little different. But that brings me into my next topic of, like, making sure you're doing what you want to do because you want to do it. Now, I always tell people, if you're not sure and you're trying to figure it out, there is nothing wrong with simply trying things out, seeing what works for you. That's how you grow. That's how you learn what you like, what you don't like, with anything in life. But another thing I feel like social media has put a lot of pressure on is people feeling like they see somebody else do it, so they gotta do it so that they can be perceived a certain way, or, you know what I mean? A certain amount of tension that comes with being like a social media light or a social media influencer. And That's not to say that, you won't be good at it or you won't succeed, but you really have to make sure that what you're doing is because it's what you want to do, not because the next person did it. Like, it kind of creates, like, if we're being completely honest and transparent, it low-key creates a weird competition amongst, I feel like, our generation and, like, people and peers. I see it all the time. It's like, okay, this person is doing this, but let me do this. Or that person doing that, well, let me do this so I can, be viewed at this level, or so I can reach this certain amount of attention. And truthfully, if we want to be honest, it's all a version of validation. Like, I don't know how many times I see people who want to be like I said, like influencers or entrepreneurs, and it's just like, you like it because it looks good, but you don't know what goes into it. And if that's not something that you really have, like, I feel like the knack for, or just call a spade, the talent for it, then don't put yourself in that rabbit hole of keeping up with the Joneses, if that makes sense. Because there's more to life. Like, I feel like social media is almost like a box, and if you are always living through social media or feeling like social media is like the end all be all, or you're doing stuff for social media, you are in a box. You're in a box, like, period, point blank. You feel like you gotta post like this and post like that and do this type of content and do that type of content and dress this way. Like, you're putting yourself in a box, literally. Oh, I gotta do this, I gotta work that type of job, work this type of job, because that's what everybody else is doing. That's what's seen as, like, popping. And it's like, in all reality, this is only a percentage of what's going on. Like, and it's just, I don't know. What happened to wanting to, like, what's wrong with having your own dream, your own aspirations? Like, everyone does not have to be a socialite. And the crazy thing for me is, a lot of times people don't even know that some of these influencers, that is not their main occupation. I follow people on TikTok right now who are nurses, doctors, or travel agents, have some super high strenuous job, and this is just something they do on the side, as a hobby. And now if they're good at it, then they're good at it. But it's like, stop thinking that being a social media influencer is like the end all be all to everything, or you know what I mean, or you have to be an entrepreneur because it looks a certain way, looks this type of way. I know so many corporate baddies. I know so many hospital bays. You know what I'm saying? I have a best friend who's an engineer. I have plenty of friends who are entrepreneurs, like, plenty of them. So it's just like, stop feeling like this cookie cutter version of what life is supposed to look like, especially in your 20s, in your early adulthood, and falling, like, victim to it. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people, and I'm like, I can just tell, like, you are letting the influence of the outside of social media, things that aren't even real. I could have been depressed all day, right? I could be depressed. I could be crying. I could have $2 to my name. But if I take a good enough picture with a nice outfit on, smiling, with my nails done, hair done, y'all are going to think, oh, you know what I'm saying, think I have it all together just because of how I'm presenting myself to the world. And that's what a lot of people have to understand. Like, social media really is not real life, and I cannot stress that enough. And it goes back to my original point with entrepreneurship. You're seeing the win. People aren't necessarily showing their struggle, but that doesn't mean they didn't come from one. That's like that's the reason one of my favorite, like, kind of social media influencers / entrepreneurs is Milano. When I tell you, I love her story, and I love how real she keeps it, and I love her success story, and I love how humble she is, and everything that she just represents. That's the type of person I would aspire to be like. Like, that's the type of aura and vibe I want to give. Like, I started here, and I'm working my way up, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you have to start somewhere. Like, a lot of us weren't born into riches, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us weren't born with the tools or the answers. A lot of us don't even have people doing the same thing in our lives, doing the same things that we want to do, having the same occupations that we seek to have. So you are going to start from some type of bottom, and that's okay. Like, I just think we're not even really caught up with the success. We're caught up with the look of success, and that's the scary part about it. It's like, a lot of us are not really hungry for the success. We're just hungry for the look of being successful. I just want to look the part. I want to look successful. I want to have things so I can look a certain way and show other people, look, this is how I look. Versus that feeling you get when you didn't overcame all these obstacles and you didn't hit all these goals and you didn't see yourself go from 0 to 100. You know what I mean? And it's just the truth. It's honestly just the truth. That's just the fact of the matter. We're so in love with the look of things and not for what they actually are. But this is not going to just be a rant on what we're doing wrong and what we're doing right. We're also going to try to talk about some of the things that we could do to help break down these barriers and help us reach our goals. So one thing I always say, people always ask me is, what's your goal in 3 to 5 years, 10 years from now? And I always tell them the same thing. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea what I will want in life in the next 5 or 10 years. Obviously, I guess the obvious, a house, a car, a family. That's very surface level answers. I'm the type of person, and maybe someone can take something from this, set short-term goals. And as you begin to hit those markers in your short-term goals, you will see that you've actually hit a bigger goal and that you've made a way bigger difference than what you thought you did, because you've been hitting so many little points. You keep adding and adding and adding and adding, and now it's become this huge marker that you've hit. So for me personally, I never try to go into things saying, okay, next 5 years, I gotta have this, and this. No. What I'm gonna work on this week will be this. Get this done this week. Okay. Get this done the next day. Okay. Did that, check it off. Okay, tomorrow I need to do A, B, C, and D. Check it off. Okay, next week I need to do A, B, C, and D. Check. Okay, so now over a course, as a month has went by, I've hit all these little markers that I wanted to hit, and I'm making sure I'm maintaining a routine and I'm staying consistent in my tiny. It don't matter how small the goal is. It could be this freaking big. I'm keeping consistency in hitting my small goals and my tiny victories, so that once all is said and done, I look at everything I've done and I've actually accomplished a lot. And now I can make that bigger decision of, okay, I'm in a space where I can do this and I can do that because I've worked on all these, like I said, little markers already. And I feel like that's kind of something that the school system's kind of instilling you, like you have to have this 5-year, 10-year plan. I'm going to be honest with you. At 18, I couldn't tell you what I wanted in 10 years. I'll be in 3 years, I'll be 10 years older than when I was 18. If I would have known this is how, there's no way I would have known that this would be my life at 24, about to be 25. I didn't know I would be a mother. I didn't know I would be a single mother. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I would be running a business. I thought I wanted to be a nurse. You know what I mean? I didn't know I would start podcasting and talking out to people. I always knew I wanted to do something with the community, but I could have told you what that was going to look like or what it was going to be. So it's honestly, I don't want to say unrealistic because everybody does dream differently, but to an extent, it is unrealistic to be in your teen years and know what you want to do a decade later. In any part of your life, honestly. And like I said, as a 24-year-old person, I could not tell you what all I would want to have by the time I'm 34. My goals and my mind with my maturity will change over time. So it's always going to be a constant shift. Like I said, there are surface value things or surface level things that of course I will want to acquire in my life, like a house, like I said, a car that I actually own and things of that nature, and a running business, some type of passive income. But I could not tell you exactly what those things are. All I can tell you is that this is what I'm going to work on day by day. These are the goals I expect to hit by the end of the week, so that by the end of the month, this is how everything is looking. So then by the time that year goes by, because I've been so consistent with the rules I've set for myself and the boundaries I've set for myself and the markers that I want to hit, I have now reached a new level. And so I just encourage other people to do, I encourage other people to do the same. You don't have to know exactly how it's going to end up. You just have to know what it's going to take to get there. Literally. So I guess we're just now that the more I keep going, the more I'm kind of adding things on. So honestly, I guess we could consider this things that we are working on in the new year. Obviously, some of these things are going to be very personal, like for myself, but better financial literacy is something I feel like we, especially in your 20s, should be developing. Like I said, we're not all born into riches. We haven't all been born into, like, situations where we knew everything, because the generation before us didn't have all the answers, and we're doing the best that we can. But I feel like we are at a point now in society and as a people where we have to want better and be the change. So this year, especially for myself, holding myself accountable, I is like, even talking to one of my best friends, it was so crazy because she has said, I want us to talk about hold each other accountable. But months prior to that, I was talking to another friend of mine, and she's pretty deep into the church or whatever, and I went to one of her services, and it was talking about accountability. And it was just like something I really did need to hear, because not only do I need to hold myself accountable, I need to hold people around me accountable. And I need the people around me to hold me accountable. Like, it's so important. Like, if you see me slacking, if it's been 3 weeks and I haven't dropped a podcast episode, I want you as my friend to be like, hey Lex, what's going on? Why you ain't dropped episode 55? You know what I mean? So it's so important. And so one thing I'm holding myself accountable for is better financial literacy. So I've been doing a lot more information on setting myself up, as well as my daughter, how to get her set ahead from when she gets 18, even though that's not something I want to think about because I will honestly cry. But just those things that are really going to matter in the long run, and things I want to know. I want to have something to show for. If I want to put all this work in and put all this, effort out, like, I have to have something to show for that. And so that's why accountability is definitely a big thing for my year personally. And I've just been hearing the word so much, and it was like, honestly, reassurance to, like I said, things I had already been feeling or things I had already been hearing and knowing. So when my best friend had said it, it was just like, that's really crazy, because I literally have been feeling the exact same way. Like, I need more accountability in my life, and I need to be able to hold people around me accountable, because that's really going to let me know, like, who's serious and who's not. And with holding ourselves accountability to better ourselves within this new year, hold yourself accountable for the type of people you surround yourself with. I always say my age. At 24, there is just certain things I'm not going to be around, certain vibes I'm not going to place myself in, certain scenes you're not going to see me in, solely based off who I want to be and who I know I am going to be. And I just feel like if you're having that gut feeling of, I'm outgrowing something, I'm outgrowing this is not me, I'm not having as much fun as I am doing X, Y, and Z, or going to the club all the time, or always being drunk, or always being high, or always being on the scene, and then stop. It's that simple. Stop doing it. Stop being around people that you know are going to put you right back in that element. Stop being in certain atmospheres where it's going to have that low vibrational feel. Stop giving yourself excuses to do or be around things that do not feed you positively. Like, you know what I mean? Like, being in situations that do not pour into you. So that's another part of, like, holding yourself accountable. And just really caring about those goals. Like, if I know that, let's say, you know what, this week I want to make X amount of money, and I want to have this many clients today. If I do that all week, and then come Saturday, and someone's like, oh girl, let's go out, let's get a section, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, I have to have enough self-control to say, although that may sound fun, Not right now, because there is a reason I'm setting these goals up and I'm trying to set myself ahead. And doing something as minute as going to the club and buying a section, which is something you can do any weekend of the year, any weekday, any day of the year, is not going to help me in the long run. There is nothing at that club in that section with that bottle of Casamigos that I am going to be missing out on, except maybe $450 that we didn't pay out for the section, plus the bottle and whatever else. So, like I said, watch the company you keep, watch the settings that you are involving yourself in, and have self-control. Alright, so this was it for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know any other topics you would like me to touch on. Bye!